Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 5 of the Little Dynamite Knits podcast. It's been a minute since I have been here. It's actually been about exactly a month, so maybe that's what I'm just going to be averaging. I have no plan for when I do these, but this one I've been wanting to do for over a week, maybe over 2 weeks, and just kept not happening, but we're here now. So welcome. Thank you for watching. If you already subscribe, very, very happy to have you back. And if you're new, if the flock recap drew you in, hopefully you'll enjoy this. You'll stick around. I think we have a lot of fun here. So let's get to it. So in the month since I last recorded, I did go out to Seattle. I was actually out there for a full week, and we will talk about that trip in a little bit. I am going to do some of my normal update stuff. I have a very exciting, sorry, I'm distracted by the cats as always. I have a very exciting finished object, which I'll talk about. I have 2 whips that I'm actively working on. I have 2 very exciting future cast-ons that are coming. Actually, I have 3 whips that I'm working on. I have a lot of acquisitions. Some are not from Flock, so I'll do those separately, and then we'll get into the Flock acquisitions when I do my actual recap of Flock. But what else? So I was in Seattle for a week. I came home. I was home for 1 day, and then I had to go to Pittsburgh for a work event. And then we had our first day of school. So if you don't know, I work for a cyber charter school, and the students had their first day of school on Monday, August 26th. So they've been back for a week. I work year round though, so which actually hasn't been that bad. I was a teacher for 18 years, so I did have those summer breaks before I made the transition to the position I'm in now. But it hasn't been bad, I have to say. Hasn't been bad. So the school year started, so work has been a little hectic. At times slightly overwhelming, but I'm really good at, setting boundaries and removing myself, even though I work from home and the computer is literally right there next to my iPad, which I'm recording on. I'm really good at turning that off and then moving to the other half of my office, which is my where my chair is and knitting, or going upstairs. And I'm really good at separation, even though I work from home. I don't let it take over my life. And we've been watching a lot of baseball, as always. That's pretty much what we do from March to hopefully October, is watch the Phillies play every night. It's been a little frustrating lately. Hopefully we're starting to turn it around. We've won the last 2 games, 2 out of 3 of the last 3 games against the Braves, and the 4th game of the series is tonight. So hopefully we can win that series and be 7 games ahead of the Braves. If you don't like baseball, sorry, but not. It's one of my favorite things in the world. And another exciting thing is, sorry, I keep looking at my notes. That's why I'm looking over here. We went to see Bruce Springsteen. It was kind of on a whim. We didn't have tickets until about maybe the week of the show. But he played 2 shows at Citizens Bank Park, and we went to the Friday night show, the second one. The set list was incredible. The crowd was great. I love going to see Springsteen with Brent. He was a fan of Bruce before we met. I've been a fan of Bruce since college, but I grew up listening to him. I'm a Jersey girl. My mom and dad, I think, went together. Yeah. To see Bruce when she was pregnant with me. So I can say that my first Springsteen show was in 1981. But I first saw him as a human being outside of my mother's womb. That's a phrase you weren't expecting to hear in a knitting podcast. 2009 was my first Springsteen show, and I think I've seen him now 9 times. And the last few have been with Brent, and it's really fun to share that with him. We haven't decided yet, but we may go down next weekend. He's playing in DC, so we'll see. All right, let's talk about knitting. Okay, so finished object. I am wearing it. This is the Haiku Cardi by Svetlana Volkova. I will link the pattern down below, but I will offer a warning that the pattern as written is not really size inclusive. I followed the size 2XL to get started. And then at a few parts of the pattern, I kept repeating or added additional stitches. So let me stand up. So it is an open cardigan. It has a little bit of ribbing here, but not like a true button band. And then there's ribbing on the bottom. The sleeves are nice and generous. They do roll a little bit, which I don't mind. I actually kind of like it. Let's see if I can go back. You can get the full picture. It is generous. I probably didn't need to add quite as many repeats in some sections as I did, but I do like that it's oversized. I think it's going to be a perfect fall garment as we start to get some cooler weather. The sleeves cover, the top half of my arms. I don't get super cold, so cardigans are definitely are interesting me more in terms of what garments I want to make for myself next, because I like the idea of layering and being able to take that off. And a short sleeve cardigan in yarn that's 50% cotton, I think will be really good for in between summer and fall, and then maybe spring and summer. The yarn, I knit this with Plymouth Sea Isle, which is a 50-50 merino and cotton. It's organic Pima cotton. This is the color Beach Plum. So it's like a heathered purple color. I used 5 skeins of the yarn, almost entirely. What else? It's a very interesting construction. It's almost like you're knitting a giant shawl, and then you do these panels that you bring over for the shoulders, and then you join to make your sleeves and pick up stitches all along the back, and then just knit the rest as long as you want it. So for a first garment, if I didn't have to do math, I didn't do math. I just kind of guessed and said, okay, let me go this many more stitches or this many more repeats here. If I didn't have to do that, and for people who might do this pattern and don't have to add fabric to make it bigger for their bodies, I do think if you can pick up stitches, if you feel comfortable with that, because you do have to pick up a lot of stitches along the back. But other than that, I do think this is a very approachable pattern for a first garment. Like if you can knit a big shawl like that starts from the middle and goes out, and if you feel comfortable picking up stitches, I think this is, if it were more size inclusive, like I would totally recommend it. So that's my dilemma right now. Easy to make bigger, but you shouldn't have to do that, So, but it's really cozy. I love it. It's great. I think it's going to be really good in my office here for working. It gets really cold in my office. So I'm going to keep this down here, but it's actually not cold right now. So we're going to take that off. But yeah, I'm really proud that I have knit a garment that fits my body and that I can wear and that I like. So this was a big deal. This was a big deal for me. That's the only finished object I have. So, oh, hold on. Oh my gosh. Did not dry my hair. This is air dried. Goodness, right here. Okay, we're gonna go to whips. I have 3 active and 1 that I have not touched since the last episode. So I'm not gonna pull out the anthology throw that I've been working on. That's just like a background project for when I need like a palette cleanser or just something easy to work on, low pressure. And I'm using yarn scraps for that. So that will, I don't know when that'll be done. But the project I've been working on the most, I've just been enjoying so much. It is in a madder root bag. I got this at Rhinebeck at Sheep and Wool last October in 2023. It was my first time at Rhinebeck. It's got this waxed canvas bottom, so it sits up. It's got the clip here so you can roll it. It's kind of like a dry bag, dry sack. And then there's ferns on the inside. It's really pretty. And there's a pocket in there too. So in here, I have, let's get it, make it look pretty. I have my Pressed Flowers Cowl. I'm almost done. It's pretty long. So this is a pattern. I'm sure folks are familiar with this one. Oh, that is quite a line. We'll talk about that in a minute. This is a pattern by Amy Christophers. There are several versions of the pressed flowers. There's a shawl, there's a pullover, there's a cardigan, there's a hat. I think there's even socks. But I'm doing the cowl and I'm doing the biggest version. So basically it's going to get seamed and then I'm going to be able to wrap it twice around. I can't wait. I am using Kelborn Woolens Andorra for the main color, and that is a sport weight yarn. And this is the color, you would think I would remember, Stone. And then I'm using Feederbrook Farm, their Entropy DK, which is 100% blue-faced Leicester wool, BFL, in the colorway Potential Energy. This is a DK. This is 260 yards per 100 grams. This is very much a sport. It's, I think it's approaching fingering, actually, because it's 185 yards for 50 grams. So 370-ish for 100. Did I do that right? 60% merino wool, 20% Highland wool, 20% mohair. So this is thinner than this, but that is helping make the color work, I think, pop more. The first skein, I can probably show you where the first skein got me to. Right around here, where this line is. I tried to get to a spot in the second skein where that wouldn't be as noticeable. I did not do that great of a job. But when it's wrapped up around me, I don't think you'll notice that. I will say the second skein of this yarn has been challenging. Lots of overspun parts and unspun parts. I'm not a spinner, so I don't know if that's the right way to say that, but like really thick fuzzy spots and then like really thin, super tight spun sections. Because of some of those larger unspun sections, I have had to cut the yarn, and so way more yarn ends than I should have. I'm also, as I'm approaching the end, this darker color is a little too close to my main color, and I want to get to this bright yellow green in the middle, so I think I'm going to cut it again and then rejoin. But all that being said, this has been so incredibly enjoyable. The yarn feels so good. I can't wait to block this and really see it bloom. And the pattern is so much fun. There's 2 charts in the pattern, and then a plain stitch section, and they are all enjoyable. Like, this has made me want to knit all the pressed flowers patterns. So I am sure that that will be done by next episode. I'll get those later. All right. Next up is was my travel project that I cast on for when I went to Seattle. So my plane project, and then I thought I was going to work on it as I walked around and hung out at the festival. I actually didn't really knit though at the festival. I was just having too much fun talking to people and meeting people and shopping, and so I didn't do a lot. This is all I did. But this is just a basic sock. I'm doing a 3x1 rib on the top of the foot, stockinette on the bottom of the foot, and then I'll do the rib all the way around the leg. What cast on did I do? I think I did a Judy's Magic cast on, just my basic toe that I do. And then I will do a gusset and heel flap. So the toe up reverse version of a heel flap and gusset. Do my ribbing on the leg, and then do probably a twisted rib, 1x1 rib for the cuff with a stretchy bind off. I am using Red Door fiber. This is their Bounce Sock Base, which is an 80/20 superwash merino nylon blend, 400 yards. That plump 2-ply, it's my favorite sock base. And look at these colors. This is the Starfall sock set. So let me see if I can get this out of here and show you these colors. They're so good. And it's just knitting up beautifully. So that's sock 1. That's as far as I got. Size 1, 64 stitches, magic loop. I think that's it. I have this in one of my little sock sacks, I call them. These are my favorite project bag for socks. They're little. I can throw them in any bag. I have several. This one is from Camp Stitchwood, and I purchased this at the yarn festival that shall not be named from October of 2023. All right. And then my other whip that I need to get like my butt in gear is the Hibernation House socks for Coley of Paisley Knits, sample knit for her Eras collection. Now she has started to show the colorways, so I can talk about this more. She has not shown the colorways yet that she sent me to knit with, so I still cannot share my colors that I've been working with, but I owe her, I was able to give her, what are they called? The Amber socks at Flock. I was able to just hand them to her in person. And the reason the Hibernation House socks are not done is because I weighed the fingering weight, the sock yarn, before I cast on for the second sock and knew I wasn't going to have enough. So Coley brought me a second skein so that I could do the second sock. And so as soon as I have that done, I will get those in the mail to her. And I do have photos that show off the finished Amber socks. I'll take finished photos of the Hibernation House socks. And maybe by next podcast, I think I should be able to share those. So the yarn has been so incredible to work with. And if you follow Coley on Instagram and you've been seeing the color reveals for the Airs collection, they're like, she's just knocking it out of the park. So because I sample knit for her, I will get to choose some skeins. She's really generous with her sample knitting compensation. So I may put that toward a sweater quantity from the Eras tour. She has 3 new bases, and one of them I sent her a message. I was like, I have to know what these bases are. Like, I have to know what they are. And I've seen all the colors. She showed me a picture of all the colors when we were at Flock. But one of the 3 new bases, it's so good. So I think that's what I'm going to get. A little treat for myself. All right. We talked about life. We talked about finished objects or object. We talked about works in progress. Let's talk about acquisitions. All right. Non-Flock acquisitions. All right. First up, I have 4 skeins of Explorer Knits Extra Sprinkles colorway on her Denali sock, or on their Denali sock base. I already have 3 skeins of this. They're right here. 1, 2, 3. I originally bought them for a dotted race shawl by Stephen West. But then there's a cardigan. It's spelled M-A-E-M-A, Mima cardigan. It is knit up, the sample with the pattern is knit up with a similar color, like a neutral yarn with a lot of speckles. And so I just think this, first of all, let's take a moment and look at all those speckles. How good is that? So now I have 7 skeins of this, and I'm going to make myself that cardigan. It's another short sleeve cardigan, very textured, very fun. I will put up a picture of it. I cannot remember the designer, Megan Nodecker. I think that's it, but I'll put it up here and obviously in the description below. So I now have 7 skeins of this, and that'll be, I'm accumulating a good amount of sweater quantities, which is exciting. All right, next up. This was waiting for me when I got home from Flock. So that was, that was like, when did I get home from Flock? August 11th, 12th, something like that. And this was waiting for me there. So I think everyone has gotten theirs, but if you are a part of Little Fiber Co.'s mystery cookware club and you haven't gotten July's color yet, look away. This is Nectar. Look at that yellow. How fun and happy is that? So this is her year-long mystery cookware club, and I am getting her Merino DK base, which is 100% non-super rush Merino, 20.5 microns. It is a 4-ply base, 100 grams, 231 yards. And I say this every episode, but I am saving all of these, and I'm going to make a painted honeycombs blanket by Stephen West. I know, non-superwash and a blanket. I have cats. It's a risk, but it's one I'm willing to take because I just love this club, and I have a vision in my head of what the blanket's going to look like, and I can't wait. And then my other acquisition is the Woolens and Nosh 2024 Advent. I did this last year for the first time ever, and I had so much fun knitting my stripes every day. I did my socks 2 at a time, and they were done and ready to wear for Christmas. And they just, knitting those stripes each day just brought me so much happiness. So if you're not familiar with her Advent, it comes in this perfect bag, and I still have the bag from last year, but I can't reach it. These bags are so good for sock projects. I know I just said those little sacks are my favorite, but if you're knitting socks that you're using 2 skeins of yarn, so like the amber socks that I just did, the hibernation house socks, you can tuck the 2 skeins in side by side. You can snap the button and pull from each side, and it stands up on its own. So if you're not familiar with this advent, I'm trying not to show the main color of the mini and the in between the stripes, but basically there's a mini skein in here. So I'll use that for my toes. I'm going to go toe up just like I did last year. And then in between each colored stripe, that color of the mini comes back. And that's how you know when to stop knitting for that day. I got the DK version. So this is the high twist DK base. And there's a nice handy little sticker on the back of the bag here. It is 100% superwash merino, 3-ply. The striping skein is 100 grams, but they split it for you into 250-gram balls that match, so the stripes line up. And then there's a 40-gram mini skein in there, so very generous. So now I just have to hide this till December. I might give it to my husband and ask him to tuck it away for me so I'm not tempted now that I've shown it on the podcast. All right. Oh, I have one more non-knitting related acquisition, although some might argue that you could say it's knitting related. I ordered this online and I thought I had ordered the t-shirt, but apparently I ordered the sweatshirt. I went back and looked at my order and I did. I ordered the sweatshirt. I don't know why I thought I ordered the t-shirt, and I don't know why I thought it was going to come before I left for Flock, but I was really hoping to wear this t-shirt that I did not order at Flock. But it's a sweatshirt and it came, gosh, at least a week after I got home from Flock. But it's still awesome. So, is that backwards? I can never remember if when I'm recording on my iPad, if it's going to show up the right way or not. Hopefully this is not backwards, but this is my new favorite sweatshirt. If you know, you know. It's super big, it's cozy, and if you can't tell, in addition to saying childless cat lady, here it says miserable, and here it says running the world. So I will be probably living in this come late fall and winter. All right, let's talk about Flock, shall we? All right. If you are just here for Flock, welcome. If you are not interested in Flock and you're leaving, thank you for being here. I'll do my little pitch of if you are enjoying these episodes and you don't want to miss any, please subscribe. From what I hear, that also helps my channel. And if you like the videos, that also helps. It helps other people see them and kind of gets the word out and gets in front of new people. I have 37 subscribers as of today, which is exciting that there are 37 people who want to watch this and hear what I have to say and see what I have to show. But it means a lot to me. So thank you. And let's get into it. So for Flock, Flock took place over a weekend. The marketplace was Saturday and Sunday, but then on Friday there was classes. There were classes all 3 days, but on Friday it was just classes, and then on Saturday and Sunday, classes were still going on and the marketplace. I flew out, I flew out of JFK Airport because I'm a little bit of a bougie bitch and I wanted to fly JetBlue Mint, and I was able to get a good deal. The reality is that, you know, I have a very large body. A 6-hour flight across the country in a coach seat is just a non-starter. Between my size, the length of my legs, my back problems that I've been having, it just wouldn't, I probably wouldn't go if I had to be in one of those seats. And I know that I am incredibly fortunate that I could even consider buying a lie flat seat to get myself from one side of the country to the other. But JetBlue Mint, if you're not familiar, if you watch it carefully and you keep an eye on it, the prices sometimes just like really drop and you can get a decent deal. So that's what I did. But it meant that I had to fly out on Monday before flock. So I ended up being out there for almost a full week. So my plan was I would fly out Monday night and get there pretty late. I knew I was going to get there late, so I booked a room in a hotel near the airport. And then the next day, I was going to take a Lyft into the city to my Airbnb, order groceries for the week, get settled, maybe do a little exploring, and then work half days on Wednesday and Thursday, so that I wasn't missing a full week of work during a pretty busy time getting ready for the new school year. And then Friday, I signed up for 2 classes, and then I had marketplace tickets for both Saturday and Sunday. And then my flight was leaving Sunday night, late, red-eye flight, arriving in JFK Monday morning. So I have a little bit of a travel saga to tell. If you follow me on Instagram, you already saw the whole thing. It was actually really funny because I was walking around Flock and people were like, oh my gosh, you're the one whose suitcase didn't arrive. And like, oh my gosh, did you ever get your stuff? So my story preceded me throughout the marketplace. But yeah, so my flight was delayed. The gate changed. I don't know how many times. My husband drove me up to JFK from where we live outside of Philadelphia because he's amazing. Not just because of that, but just one of the many reasons. And so he dropped me off and I found a restaurant to hang out in. I got through security super quick. Another perk of JetBlue Mint in JFK is that there's a designated check-in desk just for Mint and Mosaic for JetBlue because there are a lot more JetBlue flights go out of New York than Philly. So you're actually like, and here's what makes it worse. You're actually like handing your suitcase to someone at a special desk, and it's supposed to be picked up by another employee and like hand delivered to the effing plane. So I hand off my suitcase. Security is a breeze. I think I got through in 10 minutes, which at JFK, is, combination of having the JetBlue Mint check-in and then I have TSA pre-check. So I had some time to fill when I got there. So I found a restaurant, set up my laptop, which I had to bring with me for work, and started working on my Flock map. The Flock map that they put out of the marketplace, it was all the booths had numbers, and then there was like a key in alphabetical order of what the booths were. And my brain, like, I appreciate that they did that. Like, having a map and having it early was incredible. So grateful, because we all know we've been to events where you don't get that. So that was great. My brain just wasn't quite loving not knowing the names of the booths. So I took that map and in Canva, I put the names of every booth over the numbers. So I was working on that in the airport. And then I headed to my gate, and then the gate changed, and then it changed again. And then we weren't sure we were leaving. And then we got a plane. And so finally, I think 2 hours later, we were departing. So I already knew I was going to get into Seattle much later than I thought. So I called the hotel to let them know I was coming. Please don't give my room away. And then settled in for the flight. JetBlue has free Wi-Fi on their planes for everyone. It's not just a Mint perk. So about halfway through the flight, I get an email saying they're sorry that my luggage was not put on the plane. My suitcase was still in New York as I was halfway across the country. Not much you can do when you're on a plane. I asked my husband to call them and kind of see what my next steps would be. They wouldn't talk to him because he wasn't the person on the reservation. So I kind of just tried to put it out of my mind and and I'll deal with it when I land. So landed, went to the baggage carousel, knowing my bag wouldn't be there, but holding like a thread of hope that maybe it got on and the computer just didn't get updated. But no, it didn't arrive. There's no luggage desk at Seattle, no JetBlue luggage desk at the Seattle Tacoma airport. So I had to go up to the check-in desk, and they gave me directions on what I would need to do to file a claim. And then I headed to my hotel, and I was able to get a toothbrush, some packets of toothpaste, something that said it was deodorant. I don't know what it was. Some mouthwash, just some things to get me through the night. I didn't have any other clothes. I did have my work laptop with me, which I almost put in my suitcase. I'm glad I didn't. I had knitting with me, and I was exhausted. So I just got to my room and went to sleep. Got a message the next day that my suitcase was going to be put on that evening's flight from JFK to Seattle. There's only one flight a day, apparently. I think there's more, but maybe there's only one direct flight, and they didn't want to put it on a connecting flight because that could be a whole nother adventure. So, okay, my suitcase will arrive tonight. It may even be delivered tonight. Worst case scenario, I'll have it Wednesday morning. Take a lift into the city. I was able to check into my Airbnb early, which was awesome. I will say, aside from the suitcase not arriving, I had a lot of luck in other regards to my trip. I'm sorry, hold on. Felt like there was something in my eye, and I know that some people are grossed out by that. Okay. So I was able to check into my Airbnb very early, get settled. I placed an Instacart order for groceries for the week because I knew I wanted to make breakfasts and have snacks for the week and minimize how much I was ordering food or going out to eat. And then I think I just, what did I do? Oh, and then the flight got canceled. The flight that my suitcase was supposed to be on was canceled because of a giant storm, like over New York. I did not handle that news well. Had a little bit of a meltdown. And it wasn't like an angry meltdown. It was a genuine, like, I'm sad. Like, I was crying. I was sad that I didn't have my luggage and that it was affecting my trip so much. For the first time ever in my life, I forgot to put my prescription meds in my carry-on. So they were in my suitcase. So I ended up going 3 days without those. That was rough. It's a combination of medication I take for physical and mental health issues. So I was not in the best mental state. I was a little fragile. Let's just say that. So I talked to someone from JetBlue. I put a lot on my social media, Instagram stories, so I was getting comments from people, and that helped. Like, I felt like I wasn't alone. Like, there were people cheering me on. And I talked to Brent, and he ultimately was able to kind of calm me down enough where I was able to pull myself together, and take myself and my dirty day 2 clothes that I was wearing out to Target, where I bought some additional toiletries to get me through the next couple days. I will say the Airbnb I had was so incredibly well stocked. Shampoo, conditioner, soap, like hair dryer, like everything you needed to feel at home. So I didn't have to buy a lot. But I got some deodorant. I got a real toothbrush and toothpaste. I think I got some floss, and some ibuprofen for my back because I had run out of that in my little pill case in my carry-on. I tried to buy clothes. That Target did not have a plus size clothing section. And when the girl in that department told me that, my face must have fallen apart because she instantly was like, I'm so sorry. I'm like, it's not your fault. It's so not your fault. But oh man, that was another blow, because I can't just go into any store and buy clothing that fits me. It's the reality of being a bigger person. So I ordered a pair of jeans and 2 t-shirts off of Amazon to have delivered the next day. Where did I go after Target? I went to the Starbucks Reserve Roastery, which was right around the corner from my Airbnb. Got myself a cold brew malt milkshake, and watched that in bed while watching the Olympics. I watched a lot of Olympics those days I was waiting for my suitcase. I knit, and I watched the Olympics. And then I worked those 2 half days. Anyway, I feel like I've taken up enough time with this story. My suitcase finally was delivered to my Airbnb on Thursday morning. Yay! Wonderful. You know what else was in my suitcase? My haiku cardi, which had to have the ends woven in so I could wear it to flock. Now, I ended up not wearing it to flock because it was too warm and I was already sweating because I had been off certain medications. And I was a mess. Like I could not regulate my body temperature. So there was no way I was wearing a knit garment to flock. It was t-shirts and shorts both days. But I still had to weave in all my ends. And I also had yarn in my suitcase to knit some swatches for one of the classes I was taking on Friday, but didn't get to do those either. But anyway, it all ended up fine. Thursday night, feeling fresh, having new clothes, having my makeup, having my hair stuff. I put myself together. I took myself out to an amazing bar called... Okay, so the larger bar was called Roomba. And then there was a bar inside it called Inside Passage. So tiki bar, really cool drinks. Mental note, remember to put some photos up here. I went there, had some drinks, had some food, and then afterwards I met up with Maggie from Yarnaceous Fibers and Emily from Fangirl Fibers, and then oh, I'm so sorry that I'm forgetting her name, but it was the first time I met her. She works for Nomad Yarns, which a lot of dyers get their bases from. She was there. Maggie's friend Erica was there with her daughter. So we had a fun group. We went to Salt and Straw and got ice cream and hung out for a bit. That was really awesome. Thank you, Maggie, for extending that invite to me. It really, really made me feel better after a rough few days. It was so good to actually be with people and to be feeling good again. So let's get to Friday. So Friday I took 2 classes. I took Maker Anatomy with Andrea of the Knitting PT. It was awesome to get to meet her, and it was a great class. Had a lot of fun, learned a lot. And then the second class I took was a finishing and seaming class with Kira Delaney. And actually, that is when I wove in the ends of my haiku cardi using her method that she shared with us. So the classes were great. I'm really glad I did that. It was a fun way to fill that day. And I saw some vendors as they were arriving on Friday to start setting up their booths. So that was fun to say hi to them. Yeah, and it was a good day. Friday night, what did I do Friday night? I don't think I did anything. I think I ordered food, and started packing up, because then Saturday I checked out of my Airbnb and into a hotel a block away from the convention center. And I booked that for Saturday and Sunday nights, even though I wasn't spending Sunday night there. I booked it because my flight was so late, and that way I was able to go back to my room and relax before going to the airport. So that worked out really well. So let's talk about the marketplace. Okay, so first of all, everything I purchased fit in my New York sheep and wool bag. This is the perfect festival bag. They were selling flock bags at Flock Fiber Festival, and they looked great. They were a similar size, but this bag has outside pockets, and look at this. My water bottle, bam, right there. It's perfect. And then there's a big pocket inside, so I was able to put like smaller things like stickers and like the other thing, like, well, I'll show you, in the pocket, and then all the yarn in the main part. So everything I fit everything I bought fit in this bag, which then fit in my suitcase to go home because I had planned for that. That's why I checked a bag. I should have just carried on and had the extra bag and been okay with that. But oh well. So I thought I might go in order of purchases, but I don't remember what order I purchased things in. So it's been a while. I meant to do this recap much sooner, but I will say though, I slept in on Saturday. The first 2 hours on Saturday and Sunday were periods of mask required shopping times, which is fantastic. And I'm so glad they did that for people. After a few days without my prescription meds and the hot flashes I was having, I knew I could not do that. I was already a sweaty mess. And if I had worn a mask for those 2 hours, it would have been awful. So I didn't go. And that was my personal choice. And if I had been feeling better, I would have gone and I would have worn the mask and it would not have been an issue at all. But I'm so glad that they did that for folks. But knowing I couldn't wear it, I stayed away until that time was done. So I got to the marketplace at 12 on Saturday. And I do remember the very first place I went was Hello Lavender's booth. And that was because I knew I did not want to leave the state of Washington without a few of her special stitch markers. So I got what I wanted, and I got to meet Reshma and Mike of Hello Lavender, which was awesome because I'm constantly sending Reshma messages on Instagram about the cocktails they make and cocktail bars they go to in Chicago, because Brent and I love Chicago and we go there a lot. So I've gotten a lot of recommendations from her of really great spots. So it was so fun to get to meet them in person. I got the special, turn the sheepy around. Hold on. There we go. Oh gosh, I'm sorry. I'm having trouble. They're not, there we go. Okay, I got the special flock set. So there's the sheep that looks like the sheep from the flock logo. And then it says Flock Fiber Festival 2024. And then just these pretty accent flowers. And then I also got, and if you saw these, you can't blame me. Look at this granny square. Is that not the cutest thing ever? So this is gonna be for my crochet projects. So I got those from Hello Lavender and I love them. It was hard not to buy more, but I got, those were what I wanted. And I didn't really have a list going in the flock, other than I knew I wanted these. I knew I wanted a couple skeins of a certain yarn from Les Garçons for a project. But other than that, it was kind of just see what I find. So after that, my husband's calling me. I'm gonna have to edit this. I'll be back. Okay, welcome back. All right, where were we? So I just left Hello Lavender, and then, actually, I don't know then. I don't know what order I went to any of these places. So I'll just start showing things. All right, Coats & Co. I first saw Coats & Co. at Wool'n Folks 2022, and I got her autumn mini set, which is actually right there. And this is her, or their, I should stop saying, assuming, Pacific Northwest tonal set. So pretty. I saw these on the first day of the marketplace. I did not buy them, but I was still thinking about them on day 2, so I went back and got them. I just think they're so pretty. And the yarn is interesting. It's 85% merino and 15% tencel. And it feels not rustic, but it's got a little tooth to it. And I'm excited to work with this. I don't think it's the same base as the ones I have, but that's okay because I would use them for different projects. I went to the Fiber Hustle booth. Hold on. Let's see if, all right. And I got this fan, which was a lifesaver. I know, so the weather was gorgeous in Seattle during Flock, but it was a little warm in the convention center. And so I very enthusiastically handed over some money for this very useful, but also very cute fan. It says Creative AF, has the Fiber Hustle. This is Norman or Normie. And then it says fiberhustle.com. And it's a good one. Like this thing, it is not playing around. It's like, look at this. Should this be my photo? That'll be the thumbnail of the video. This fan was awesome, but even better than the fan was getting to meet Aaron and Chip of Fiber Hustle. I met Michael from Piece for Piece, Carrie of Carrie Makes Stuff, and two of my very favorites. I got to meet Kevin and Ray from the Needles at the Ready podcast. I love their podcast. I discovered their podcast in like last fall, and have watched since, but I've also been going back to the beginning and slowly making my way through all of their older episodes too. And I just love, I just love their podcast. I think it's because we're the same age. I think they were both born the same year I was born. And in the knitting community that like I follow online, most people are either younger than me, in their 20s, early 30s, or some are older, like it maybe in their 50s. But there's not, I don't know a lot of people who are like my age doing all of this. So I think that's part of the reason I connected with them. A lot of the things they talk about, I also remember from like my own childhood or I'm also into. And so I really enjoy their podcast and it was super fun to meet them. I'll just put photos up as I go throughout this podcast of people I met as I talk about them. So Kevin and Ray, it was super awesome to meet you and to be influenced by you to buy more yarn on day 2, which I will get to. All right, I went to the Treehouse Knits booth. Got to meet Lauren, which was awesome. I have a good amount of her yarn behind me and I've knit with her yarn. So I got 2 skeins of Dove DK from her office collection. This one is called Scranton What? And if you don't know, Scranton is in Pennsylvania, not far from where I live. And then there's a lot of beauty in ordinary things. I am not a fan of The Office. I tried to watch it a long time ago, did not find it funny, and haven't gone back to it since. But I am a fan of these 2 colors of yarn, and I can't wait to put them together for a fun project. Also from Treehouse Knits, she had a sample knit up in this yarn that I'm about to show you, and a perfect example of a sample selling the yarn. If I had seen the yarn sitting there, I don't know if I would. It's gorgeous, and I'm really into like neutral yarns with speckles lately, but I don't know if I would have seen it if I hadn't seen the sample first and like saw the yarn out on the table. This is also Dove DK, which I should say, Dove DK is 100% superwash merino wool, 246 yards. This color is You Belong Here from Riverdale collection. I think that's another show, TV show. I've never seen that one. But originally, I got 4 skeins of this on day 1, thinking I would make myself like a DK weight t-shirt or something. And worst case scenario, just make it like really cropped if I didn't have enough yarn. But then on day 2, I just knew I didn't want to risk that, and I went back and got a 5th skein. So I have 5 of these, and I don't know what I'm going to make with them, but it's going to be gorgeous. So that is from Treehouse Knits. I am running out of room around me. I'm like surrounded. Here, this is right in front of me. All right. I got to meet Max and Vincent again. They were in New York last October. And when we were there, my friend Gretchen and I actually got this sweater quantity from their booth, which I'll talk about in a little bit. But since then, during the Greater Philly Yarn Crawl, I got 2 skeins of Spin Cycle Plump in Ghost Ranch. And I knew I wanted to get some Le Garçon, their collaboration with Walcott Yarns, which is called Fluff, to make Max's Plump It Up shawl. And these are actually, I believe, the colors that he did the sample in. So I got 2 skeins of that. This was the other thing that was on my list. So I was able to get those, say hello to the boys. Love them, love their yarn, love their colors. And my friend Gretchen told me, if their tote bags are less than 20, please get me one. And it was only $10. So this is for my friend Gretchen. I wish I had gotten one for myself, but I have so many tote bags, so I was good. And just got the one for her. All right. I got also a pin. Let's see if I can find it. I got their special, there it is. I got their Flock Fiber Festival pin. Is that not adorable? And that'll go with my woolen folk one from last year. They noticed this and they're like, "Arr." I'm like, I know, but the pin is so cute. Okay, let's talk about some of these fun things. This I got, sorry for the crinkle, I'll just leave it in there. This I got from ZZ Textiles, and it is the mini Cordsmith. So now I have both sizes of the Cordsmiths. And Rachel, I just can't get over how lovely. Like, you can tell what a great person she is through her Instagram, but in person, like, she is the warmest, nicest person. She shared a booth with Jess of Witchfire Fibers, and I was able to get from Jess 2 more skeins of Dry Dock on her double sock base. This color, I think she actually sold out of this at Flock, but I have one. Here it is. I already have one, so I got another one, and now I have 3. So they were both fantastic. Their booth was gorgeous. It was so great to get to meet them in person and say hello. There was a lot of like, "Hi, I'm Sarah," and like, "Oh, hi," and then Little Dynamite on Instagram, and then, "Oh," there was a lot of that, like introducing yourself by your Instagram handle. All right, let's see. Oh, I got a Lemonwood, and if you're not familiar with these, they're pretty fantastic. So you put, first of all, I got cats. Isn't that great? So you put that there, you put a skein of yarn, and then you attach this. And then you knit with your yarn hanging. You do have to do outside pull. I usually do inside pull, but for this, I will try something new, because how great is that? And then you can also like hang it from things. If you don't watch, Rachel is knitting her podcast, which you should, because it's great and she's hilarious. But she actually bought an IV pole and has 2 of these yarn minders I don't know if it's lemon wood or a different brand, but she has 2 of them hanging from the ivy pole and uses that when she's knitting with more than one skein of yarn, which is kind of brilliant. And she like wheels it around her house. So yeah, got one of those, very excited. I got this embroidery kit from Rosanna Diggs Embroidery. It is the Painted Ladies in San Francisco, which if you know Full House, you know. So I have a photo of myself jumping in front of these houses in San Francisco. So I thought this would be fun to add to my wall of like 3D fiber art that I'm imagining for the corner over my chair. Got some stickers. These are from Cerulean Orchid, 0 flocks given. Some yarn fireflies. A little knitting ghosty. And a black yarn cat. And then I got from Fiber Hustle, they were giving out stickers of Norman, and ZZ Textiles, Rachel had stickers of her new logo. And then I got this fun, I'd rather be knitting with a sheep, and I got that one from, hold on. So the booth was just called Yarn. It is a yarn store in Eureka, California. So I got that sticker and then just this little tin for stitch markers. It's just got some colored light bulbs in there. This is great to just throw in a little sock project bag for when, if you're trying to like count rows and like put one on every 10 rows or whatever. Very handy to have something like that. And then I think the rest of this is definitely day 2. So I'll come back to that. Let's talk about Saturday night. Saturday night, I had a ticket to the Rooftop Rendezvous. And I hung out with Heather from Heathered Handmaids and her friend who traveled with her to Flock. So we hung out, and then we somehow kind of like ended up in this big group with Kate from Red Door Fiber, Allie and Darren from Explorer Knits, Rachel from ZZ Textiles, Just from Witch Fire Fibers, Lauren of Little Fiber Co. Oh my gosh, it was so good to meet her and squeeze her. Lauren is in a Philly-based dyer, and I've wanted to meet her for a long time now. It was so good to finally meet her in person and hang out with her. I spent a lot of time in her booth just hanging out because she's so great. So she was there. Oh my gosh. Who else was there? There were more. I'll put a picture up. We just ended up hanging out in this big group, and everyone was so nice and so welcoming. Like, I don't dye yarn. I wasn't vending there. I don't have a business in this world. I am a consumer and a very enthusiastic fan of all of these people, but they were so nice and so welcoming. It was the highlight of the entire week, getting to hang out with these people, getting to meet these people in person. Someone described it as your Instagram feed coming to life. And it's such a perfect way to describe it, because it was this world that, you know, these people that I all follow on Instagram. My Instagram at this point is very curated. It's either it's a person I know in person, it's a yarn dyer or a knitwear designer or something related to yarn, or it's a corgi or a cat or dinosaurs. I've gotten my Instagram to the point now where it just brings me joy. I don't get my news from social media. I don't follow news accounts. I don't follow many celebrities on Instagram. I have gotten my Instagram to a point where if I'm scrolling that feed, it is bringing me joy. And a big part of that is all of these folks in the fiber community. And without getting too emotional, I discovered all these dyers and all these fellow knitters and creative people during a pretty rough time in my life. It was during the pandemic, which I know was rough for everyone, and that's when a lot of people, started knitting or discovered this wonderful world. I actually started knitting in college. I had been knitting for a long time, but it wasn't a huge part of my life until around 2021 into 2022. And I was really struggling with my mental health there. And I'm not going to go into personal details about that period here in the podcast, but it was a rough time. And to some people, it may sound silly, but knitting was really one of the only things that really brought happiness to my days during those times and kept me going. And part of that is these people that I follow on Instagram and having that little world to escape to. So then getting to meet all these people or see them again in person, all together in such a wonderful environment. It was really special. It was really special. I may have cried at one point, I'm sure. But it was 3 magical days. Like, it was so great. And so I've been putting up some photos while talking about this of the different people I've met. And if you are one of them, thank you so much for being so nice and welcoming. And, I flew 3,000 miles across the country to go to this event by myself. And I was nervous. I was nervous about going up to people and introducing them and talking to them. And there was no need for that because everyone was so nice. So at the rooftop rendezvous, there were some people walking around from the Coven Collective. I'm going to give them a big shout out right now. And they had a bag of mini skeins that they were giving out with these little moon stitch markers. And look, can you see what that is? That is a teeny tiny witch hat. Come on. How cute is that? So they were giving out mini skeins. And then Heather from Heather Handmaids, she also had some of her Fiber Friends stitch markers with her. So I was able to get one of those too. And I have the Fiber Friends sticker on my water bottle from when they came out originally. Someone I met at the rooftop rendezvous was, and it's bothering me that I don't remember her first name, so I'm actually going to look it up because it's bothering me that I'm not remembering it and I want to be able to say it here. So let's see. And it begins with an M. All right, Marcella of Little Wing Fibers. She was there on Saturday night at the rooftop rendezvous, and I met her, and she was so nice. And so I went to her booth on day 2 and picked up this beautiful skein. It's called Sunny. Is that not perfect? Of tweed. Now the yarn's just falling off the table. Of tweed DK. Is that just not happiness in yarn right there? So don't know what I'll do with it. Maybe it'll be a hat. I don't know, but had to have it. I met Brandy from, make sure I say it right, Long Dog Yarn, not to be confused with, if you know, you know. I met her on day 2. And then I saw her again when I was hanging out in Lauren's booth, Little Fiber Co. And Brandy was giving out these really great acrylic stitch markers made by Twin Mountain Handcrafts, but it's got her Long Dog logo. This one says Long Dog Yarn. There's a heart. There's just the dog, and then a yarn ball. So those are super fun. And this one is removable. So that'll be awesome. I'm actually going to measure this. I'm wondering. Well, now I'm curious. Hold on. Let's see if it's what I think it is. All right, not quite. It's a little bit longer. I was wondering if it was an inch long and it could be like a little measure check. It's not, but it's still fantastic. So I got a set of those and those are great. I think we're at my last purchase. All right, last purchase. I was looking for, so lately I've been really drawn to patterns with texture and also solid color projects. I'm sure I'm not alone in this, that when I discovered hand-dyed yarn, I went a little intense with my purchases and bought a lot of single variegated skeins. All gorgeous, but sometimes hard to put together into projects. And you can only make yourself so many socks. So lately I've been trying to buy more, not buying single skeins when I can avoid it, unless I just absolutely love something. And trying to, buy with projects in mind. And so I wanted to find a DK weight yarn that was a little bit more generous with yardage. So a little bit of a thinner DK weight base. More and more I'm being drawn to non-superwash yarn. So I was kind of on the lookout for that too. And I ended up in the Red Stag fiber booth. Kevin and Ray from Needles at the Ready were there the same time I was there. And between them and the folks in the booth, it didn't take much, but I was convinced to buy 4 skeins of this. This is their new Yorkshire DK base, 75% Polworth, 25% Masham. It is 246 yards. And I think when I bought it, I thought that said 264. So not quite as generous as I thought when I bought it, but that's okay because I got 4 skeins of it. And the colorway is St. Andrews, and it's really nice. So this may become a Dustlin shawl by Stephen West. Maybe something with a lot of texture. All right, I don't have anywhere to put these. I think that's everything. Let me just make sure the bag is empty. Yes, that's everything. All right. So that was Flock. It was amazing. This episode is already much longer than any others I've ever posted. And so I need to wrap this up. But I want to just very quickly talk about 2 upcoming cast-ons that I'm really excited about. We're going to do Brent's measurements. We were supposed to do it last weekend and we forgot. So this weekend, do Brent's measurements so I can start working on his rough edges cardigan, which I'll be making with Barocco Ultra Wool. It'll be, this is a worsted weight pattern. So I have 10 skeins of that. And then I have joined over on Instagram, Emily of Gently Chaotic Knits. She's doing, she's calling it an apple picking knit along. And people are making like cozy sweaters to wear in the fall, whether you go apple picking or not. That's just what it's called. And that was the inspiration for the sweater she's working on, was something to wear when she goes apple picking. So I'm going to use that as inspiration to finally, a year after buying the yarn, I'm not going to take all of these out. I'm going to make myself a big cozy cardie, big comfy cardie, big cozy cardie. I think it's cozy, by Andrea Mowry with Walcott Yarns Opus as my main color. I have 5 skeins of this. And then for the collar that you pick up, I got 3 skeins of Le Garçon and Walcott Yarns Fluff. And I bought these at Woolland Folk 2023. The Opus is 70% Argentinian Merino, 30% baby alpaca, 100% awesome. And it is. It feels, oh, it's so good. 384 yards per 100 grams. And this color is hickory. So I have 5 of those. And then fluff is a sport weight fluff. It is 219 yards per 50 grams. So actually that would be almost 440 yards for 100 grams. So it's almost like a fingering weight lace, but it says it's sport weight. 55% baby alpaca, 18% fine merino wool, 17% mulberry silk, 10% yak, 100% dreamy. And this is the color goldenrod. My friend Gretchen helped me pick these out, and I'm really excited for this project. So that's what I have planned, but I'm not casting those on until I finish Hibernation House sock number 2 for Coley, so I can get that shipped to her in time for the official launch of her Eras collection. Make sure you're following Paisley Knits over on Instagram so you can see all the gorgeous colors that she's been showing. And there's more to come. Trust me, they're good. They are good. That collection I think is coming out like for purchase, for pre-order on September 29th, I believe. All right. I'm just looking around. I don't think I have anything else to talk about, which is good because we're at an hour and 16 minutes here. Thank you to everyone who watched. Thank you to everyone who has subscribed or who subscribes after watching this episode. If you enjoyed it, please give it a like. Again, that helps other people see it. Please subscribe if you want to continue to keep track of or catch up with me and what I'm making. I have some exciting episodes coming up that I'm gonna work on. October's coming up, so New York Sheep and Wool and Indie Untangled and A Woolen Affair. I'll be at all 3 of those events. Yeah. And I've decided I am gonna go back to Flock next year. It's a hassle to get to Seattle, but it's worth it. And I just know if I didn't go, I would be so mad at myself and so sad to be missing out on it. If you can get yourself there, if you can get yourself to an event, even if it's one all year, this is a pretty special one. It's very well run. It's very organized. The venue is gorgeous and roomy, and there's places to sit and you can spread out. All things that are important. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.